Greetings, life scientists. Mr. Eaton again with the beginning of week 6, number 6 in our semester, and we're looking this week at genetics. And I know a number of you have papers already turned in. I'm working through grading them slowly, and I will get them completed. But one of the things that I wanted to do was to just commend those people who have already gotten into this new section. We're looking this week at lesson 4, which is dealing with genetics. And one of the things that I want to bring to your attention is the fact that genetics includes a lot of tampering, if I could use that term, by mankind of God's creation. Now, excuse me, there is a current trend among Christians, especially among Christian apologists, looking at genetics, and especially the areas which we'll look at later on in lesson 5 as we get into it, frontiers in science, issues of cloning and manipulating gene material to actually produce another living organism, a copy, exact copy of that living organism. But for now, this week, we're going to be, as you're getting into lesson 4, you'll be dealing with the structure and some of the function of DNA, for example, and RNA, ribonucleic acid, and deoxyribonucleic acid. It is, they're key elements that as recently as the 1960s, for example, 1970s, schools didn't even take the time to really study in detail DNA, because the structure of the double helix for DNA had only been discovered and worked out by Watson and Crick in the late 1950s. And today we not only take it for granted, but we've actually seen the completion of an entire human genome project, and you'll be reading some about that in the reading. But we have some people we'll meet. For example, Gregor Mendel, who was a monk in Austria, and he was fascinated with trying to produce better strains, better qualities of plants, because the order that he belonged to grew a lot of food and shared that food. Not only did they provide it for themselves, but they shared a lot of food with the poor around the region where they were located. And so Gregor Mendel became very fascinated with some of the changes and ways in which plants could be crossbred and grown. And in the process, he discovered many of the principles of genetics and how it operates. He is the first one to actually use the term gene. He didn't know for sure what it was. Today we know that genes are made up of a sequence of molecules or proteins along a DNA molecule, and that nucleic acids are actually the fundamental unit that transfers and moves heredity from a living organism to their offspring. So it's a fascinating study, and I hope that you really enjoy it. I am going to pose a question again in the community post later this week that I'll make available for discussion. And I'd like you to, if you want the extra credit, you can pull that up, read it, and get into the discussion and contribute your 2 cents worth out of it, especially those of you who are theology majors. And one of the things you can do is really do some searching in Scripture. Does the Bible really speak to the issue of manipulating things? Are we playing God, or are we exploring God's creation? It's a big question, and it's a big issue to deal with. Coming up, I hope that you've had a chance to think about the term paper. It's time to really start thinking about it, even though it's not due till the end of the course or the end of the eighth lesson. But those of you who choose to do the special project, which I put information up for a couple of weeks back, you can look that project over. It's a multimedia journal project, and that one you really kind of need to be journaling for it now about each lesson and putting a presentation together at the end. But please let me know if you would like to do or you intend to tackle the special interactive journal project in lieu of the term paper. And that's all I have for this week right now. Actually, it's not all I have. I have a ton of things I could share with you, but I'm not going to go into that today. I do have an article I'm going to be putting up later for you to read, and I'd like your opinion on it. It's actually was an article produced by Crossway Bible, the people who produced the Crossway Bible, and it's called Scientism, and Scientism is leading people away from Christ. And I'll go into more detail later this week about that. But the question that I'm going to pose on the community posts in the special blog will be up very shortly. So God bless. Have a great week. And I hope you're continuing in prayer for our Institute president and his selection. And I pray and praying for the board. And I hope each of you are doing well and staying healthy. If you have any concerns, if there are any issues coming up, anything you're having trouble with, please contact me right away. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon.